crack myself up. I still haven't found my first Blantons.
That's different. I really like that.
They're like together, like peas and carrots.
That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things.
Peychauds or Pechaud's or... This is not what I expected.
And Happy New Year. Here we are. It's the 2nd of January, 2025. So if you're writing checks to me, remember to put the right year on there. That's the thing that I always do. It doesn't matter. I mean, for now until the end of time, for me, when I'm writing checks, it's going to be 2014. I don't understand why. Spearman's with me. Let's get this show on the road. I'm with you. All right. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great New Year. And like he said, let's get the show on the road. Let's get underway. We didn't have a ton of votes for the last spread of what we had here. But what I can tell you is that the one that won is the Old Fitzgerald. This is the 11 year from Old Fitzgerald. And wouldn't you know it, I left my paper somewhere else. You know what? I might be able to do this right here. Because I have the text that I wrote. I'll just leave it here. Okay. Just got to be able to increase the size of the text because I'm blind. Format, font, show fonts. Let's see, what's it going to take? A little bigger. Okay. So this is the 8th edition of the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond series. It holds an 11-year age statement, meets the strict requirements of bottled in bond, the product of a single distillery in a single distilling season, aged a minimum of 4 years, bottled at 100 proof. This is the old. I've got this bottle of Old Fitzgerald sitting here. It's an 80 proof. Surprisingly tasty for what it is, honestly. It's actually pretty good. I'm afraid I'm going to spill that if I leave that up there. Trance watching. Nobody still writes checks. Yeah, some people still do, John. As a matter of fact, most of my business is done via check. So, but anyhow, all right. So, the stuff about the Old Fitzgerald 11 year. It's $109.98. It's by Heaven Hill. Mash bill on it is, it's a wheated bourbon. 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. This happens to be the exact same mash bill as Larceny, also made by Heaven Hill. This is still just a little cloudy. This is just stayed cloudy for some reason. Each spring and fall, a new addition to the Old Fitzgerald Bottled and Bond series is released, inspired by an original 1950s Old Fitzgerald Diamond decanter. The packaging and series honor both the history of the Old Fitzgerald brand and the historic Bottled and Bond designation. So this 11 year wasn't just sold as a bourbon, it was also sold as a decanter. And it's nice. If you get into that kind of thing, there's a lot of great different bottles out there. The one decanter that I don't know what I did with it. I think I put it away because I got tired of looking at it. Yeah. So anyway, there's lots of them out there, but this one is Old Fitzgerald. The Old Fitzgerald line is well known for its distilling pedigree. The brand was first registered in 1884 and was eventually sold to Pappy Van Winkle during Prohibition. In 1999, Heaven Hill bought the brand and began distilling it at Bernheim Distillery in Louisville, Kentucky. Today, in the Old Fitzgerald Decanter series, the legacy of Old Fitzgerald lives on with other wheated bourbons like Larceny and Larceny Barrel Proof. The Larceny Barrel Proof is the one that I was sipping on through the holidays. I've got like 2 pours left out of it. But here's the problem with this. Other than Thursdays, I'm going for dry January. I know. How'd you go? No, really, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to do dry January. So far, I have not been totally successful, but it can be, damp January, where maybe if you're used to drinking X amount, that it's a little less in January. And so far, so good on that. So far, so good. Blind or move the monitor closer? Blind. I'll stick with blind. Thank you very much. Trent's watching. How are you? No, Rye, I bet it's awesome. Yeah, you might actually like this one. And you might actually, John, like this one better. This is the exact same mash bill. It's just instead of 100 proof, because it's bottled in bond, this one is 80. So you might actually like this one better. One of these times when you're over, you'll have to try this one, because I actually rather like this one. But there's the scoop on this. Once again, is a wheated mash bill. The bottle sold for $109.98 in Ohio, 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. Yes, moist January. I almost said that. I thought, no, we're going to say damp, which isn't much better, honestly. Anyhow, this wraps up our series from Samples from Santa. These were all samples that were gifted to me. There's a couple of them here that we never got a chance really to get into, and I don't know. We'll probably do a smattering of these through the year. The Elmer T. Lee, the Woodford Master Collection Sonoma Triple Finish, the Willet 8-year, Heaven's Door Sky Ranch Motel, Angel's Envy Cask Strength, William LaRue Weller, and Wild Turkey Revival. Those are the ones we didn't get a chance to try during this series, but I'll have more samples coming my way. So we'll get into that. All right. Ooh, that's nice. I get whipped cream off of that. That was the first thing that hit me, is vanilla, the whipped cream on that. I don't get that note very often, but that's where it hit me. Just right, boom, whipped cream. Boy, that's fragrant. That's beautiful. Very light on the cinnamon. I'm getting a little brown sugar. There's a caramel note, or caramel, if you have a degree. There's something else. Slight cereal note. But it blends in really nicely with the vanilla note. Beautiful, actually. Just a slight astringence. I'm getting like a nutmeg stick or something like that. Michael's watching. Michael, how are you, sir? And John is continuing to troll me. Whipped cream or Cool Whip? I don't know. I haven't had any of it since Thanksgiving, so I don't know. Make it homemade. My son made homemade whipped cream for Thanksgiving. And I think his homemade whipped cream is better than anything you can buy at the store. Better than Cool Whip, better than Ready Whip. His is really, really good. And it was funny, he was starting to make his whipped cream, and he was like, this is going to take me forever. And he gets out the stuff, and he starts to whip it. I'm like, son, we have an immersion blender. Where? And then it was like lickety split. All right. Let's give this some tasting, huh? This is all I've got of it, so I can't go crazy with it. I'm going to try to take smaller sips, because you know me. I gulp. But I could do that all in one gulp, so we're just going to, little bit. Coachella Mike, it's good to have you here. This shirt was given to me on Father's Day by my daughter's boyfriend, and I hadn't worn it since then, so I thought it was time. And down below it says, "Suck it, lettuce," somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Suck it, lettuce. So I kind of went a little too far. Anyway, okay. Yeah, I'm watching myself on the monitor, and it's like a 10-second delay, so it's weird. Brian's watching. Hey, Brian. Just because you're joining us now, I'll tell you that what we've got here is the Old Fitzgerald 11 year. It went for $109.99 or 98 cents rather. 68% corn, 20% wheat, 12% malted barley. The exact same mash bill as Larceny. And I've been sipping on the Larceny barrel proof, and so the finish that's holding on to this for me is the oak. It's got a smoky oak, and it's not particularly dark. This is a little cloudy for whatever reason, but it's not a dark pour like this one from Woodford. This is dark. This is the Will at 8. This is the Heaven's Door Sky Ranch. That's a nice dark one. This one is not. It's more like this, like the Elmer T. Lee. Really nice nose. I got a lot of whipped cream on the nose, but now I'm getting some smoke on the nose, and I'm getting some smoke on the palate, particularly on the finish. It might be because it's cloudy and there's something going on. I may have some sediment. I may have some sediment happening here. It might be knocking the palate off a little bit. But all that sweet, all that vanilla, all that creme brulee, all that brown sugar is not there. I'm getting more of the cereal notes now. Larry's watching. Hey, how are you, Larry? This is the Old Fitzgerald 11 year. And this might be an off pour, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to test it, because this is the exact same stuff. It's just not nearly 11 years, and it's not bottled in bond. And I'll have to use the same glass because that's the only one I have down here. We'll just let that breathe for a minute. I'm fixing to sneeze. I'm going to try not to. Nobody likes to sneeze. I remember there was a time when I was on the radio that, like the last 6 months I was on the radio, I couldn't crack the mic without sneezing. And I think it was like, I don't know if it was nerves or I don't know what it was. But for like the last 6 months, and then I got off the radio and it stopped. So maybe you're making me nervous. Maybe I have to sneeze because of you. No. All right, let's give this that one last try here. It's got some similar notes to the Larceny. A little more flavorful on the lower side. The Larceny barrel proof is fantastic. One thing that the Larceny, that's the 90 proof or 94, whatever that is, and this one, which is 100 proof, have in common is they have a little bit of a smokier profile. That's one of the things when I first tried Larceny, I fell in love with it because it's a little bit smoky. Not like a peat, like a Scotch, but got a little on the smoky side to it, and this Old Fitzgerald 11 year kind of presents itself as smoky as well. And again, it was a little, there's some sediment floating in it. It was cloudy. I don't know if that tainted the pour or not, but we're going to try to compare it here to the 80 proof Old Fitzgerald that I happen to sit here and see if the flavor profile is at least somewhat similar. And now it's open, so John, if you want to try the 80 proof wheated Old Fitzgerald, you can certainly do that. Trent's talking to me. Never had a bad Larceny barrel proof. I haven't either. I've had some that were better than others. The one I just finished was the one, this would have been the fourth quarter, either third or fourth quarter of 23 that I just finished. And I think the 21 was better than the 23, although the 23 is pretty tasty. I'm not going to complain. The Larceny barrel proof is a wonderful pour. So let's get into this. This is the Old Fitzgerald 80 proof. Also Heaven Hill, same mash bill. Just this is a fresh crack, so it may present itself a little bit differently. We'll find out. We'll find out what the flavors do. I'm just going to open it up a little bit. I got a little water here if I need to open it up a little bit more. See if that'll sit up there. It will not. All right. Let's do nose. Okay, this nose is a lot fruitier. If I had to compare, there are some similarities though. I'm getting some of that vanilla and some of that cereal note. Yeah, it's very similar on the nose. See where it is on the palate. This has got a little bit more of a fruity side to it. So I just wonder if that sample wasn't just slightly tainted because it was cloudy. That happens sometimes. And for me, it does change the flavor of it when it's cloudy like that. I mentioned to you this before. There was a Angel's Envy barrel strength that I had. It's a special one that they have at the distillery. It's this one, although this one isn't the one that was cloudy. This is the Angel's Envy Distillery Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in port wine barrels. This is the private selection. Trying to find a date on this one. I want to say it was 2020 or 2021. 2021. So a buddy of mine got virtually the same thing from, I think it might have been a different barrel, but his was very cloudy. And they should have tasted almost identical, but they didn't. His was cloudy, had a lot of sediment in it, and it tended to remind me of coffee. It had a coffee overtone to it. Which is just bizarre. So I was thinking maybe the old Fitzgerald was kind of spoofing me that way as well, that the cloudiness was giving me a little bit different profile. Because later on I found out that his bottle settled down and he poured it and it had a different flavor to it. So take that for what it's worth. Got a couple of A122s on the shelf. Well, good. I've got a few barrel proof larcenies. I can't exactly 100% tell you what they are because I tend to buy them and let them sit and then I forget about them until I feel like having one. This Old Fitzgerald is the 80 proof. I just added a little bit of water to it. See if I could open it up a little bit. But the notes are quite similar actually to the 11 year that I just had. Not nearly as oaky, so that might be a note, that smoky oaky type of flavor that came out of that 11 year. This one has a little bit more of a presence to it on that fruit side of things. It kind of loses that cereal side and gives you just a little bit more smoothness on that fruit. It's only 80 proof, it's not a lot in here. As far as proof goes, I mean, there's going to be some people that are going to be, that's okay. This is a great beginning bottle, by the way. This is under 20 bucks. And it's only 80 proof, and it's got a great flavor to it, and it's from Heaven Hill, and it's the same mash bills larceny. You can't find it in Ohio, unfortunately. You have to go outside of the state to get it. But it's a nice pour for what it is. It happens to be very flavorful. And that 11 year, it may have been more smoky simply because it sat in the barrel a little bit longer, but normally it's supposed to mellow out, and this one didn't. So I still can't help but wonder if that was a tainted sample. Although there are a lot of similarities. This has got better balance to it, better flavor distribution. The 11 year, surprisingly to me, was thin on the mouthfeel. So that's another reason why I wonder if that sample wasn't just a little bit tainted. I'd like to get my hands on an actual bottle, crack it myself, And see, of course, a lot of people go, I would too, man. I know, I get it. But I'd like to get my hands on one and crack it open. And of course, I can't compare it anymore because it was just a little sample and it's gone. I can lick the inside. No, my tongue won't fit in there. So, Anthony's watching. Hey, Anthony, how are you? I'm glad you're with us. Happy New Year to you. We tried the Old Fitzgerald 11 year, and not sure if that sample was also good. The similarities are there with the Old Fitzgerald 80 proof, so I'm not complaining. The mouthfeel was thin for it, which was kind of surprising, and it was cloudy. So, all right, I'm going to finish this up. All right, what's going on next week? Well, we're going to say goodbye to the sample series for just a little while. We're going to put these back in their box that they came from, and maybe we'll revisit them over time throughout the year, or maybe we'll do another year-end special. I've got 7 different samples there, and I've got other ones that are here, and I'll probably get more through the year, so maybe we'll wait for the end of the year. Next week, I'm going to do an analysis on my worst pours of the year, my best pours of the year. I was going to do it today, and I just, believe it or not, I ran out of time. Here we have kind of a week off between Christmas and New Year's and a little bit before the new week begins, and I just didn't do it. I got busy today, and I just didn't get to it. So next week, we've kind of gone here before, but I think it was a different bottle. I think the one that we tried was a single barrel, and that was with this one, the 13th Colony. I want to say the label was different on that one. It might have been even a barrel proof, the other 13th Colony that I've tried. I'll have to go back and look just to make sure I don't make any mistakes or, say something I shouldn't have said. I don't want to be a liar, I don't bear false witness here, but this is the 13th Colony Southern Bourbon Whiskey, handcrafted. This happens to be 95 proof. And this is batch 2024. So we'll do some checking on this, find out what she's all about, and this is the one we will open next week. Unfortunately, for Ohioans, this is another one that's a little bit difficult to find in the state of Ohio. This one I actually picked up from a neighboring state and brought it home. But I remember having a good experience with the other one that I had, so I look forward to cracking this one. If you have any 13th Colony, great. If not, do a little research and find out what's similar to it, and maybe open that with us next week so we can drink together. 13th Colony is really good, Trent says. I remember the one that I had being very, very good, so I'm looking forward to this one. Get back into this again. And then I've got a pour out of... I got a bottle out of Wyoming, I think, or Montana, somewhere in the upper west that somebody brought to me, and I'm going to be having her come over sometime within the next, I don't know, a few weeks. I'll have her come and introduce that bottle for you. And then another friend picked up another bottle, and she's going to bring that. Yeah, I got a couple female friends that are going to bring over bottles and taste with me, so that'll be fun. So we've got some stuff coming up in 2025 that's going to be fun. I've got an entire Maker's Mark series I'm going to do. I know I've kind of tickled the whole Maker's Mark thing, but I've got 4 of them sitting here right in front of me, so we could do an entire 4-week series on just Maker's Mark with the ones I'm sitting here that I've not opened. And then I've got the BP back there, which that's really, really good. I've had it, honestly. And if I could get a second bottle of it now, a year and a half after it being released. Well, if you remember Charles Nelson Riley, that's, never mind. It just shows how old I am. All right, gang. I got to go back to adulting next week. Yeah, I understand. I got to start adulting next week myself. So... All right. Hey, gang, again, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me. As I say each week, and I mean it, you guys could be doing anything else, and you're here with me, and it means a lot to me, so thank you for that. Let me know what you want to see out of Beautiful Bourbon in 2025. What do you want me to do that's different? What do you want me to do to expand what we're doing? Do you like it just the way it is? You could DM me, PM me, whatever you want to do, email me. I don't even remember I think it's beautifulbourbon@gmail.com, I think is what it is. So if you have suggestions, things that you want me to try that I haven't gotten my hands on yet, a sample you want to send, that'd be all right. I do have another sample that was sent to me by somebody who barrel aged something. So I will have to pull that back out. We may do 13th Colony next week and then go back to a sample the week after, because somebody sent me something that they had done themselves, and I'm kind of anxious to give it a try. So bear with me while we fool around with that. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic what's left of your week and your vacation, most likely, and enjoy what 2025 is about to offer you. I know I will. It's going to be a better year. 2024 was a very big challenge for me. 2025, I'm hoping it'll be better. All right. You guys take care, and we will talk to you later.